Hello everyone, welcome to this episode of Wehry History and Entertainment News in the Berkshires and beyond. While it's only early in 2025, many arts and entertainment businesses are starting to announce their summer schedules. On this episode, I'll be discussing Tanglewood and Williamstown Theater Festival's plans for 2025. Plus, I'll be giving a history of Stockbridge and reviewing the animated film, The Wild Robot. First, it's time for this episode's trivia question. This episode's question is, what current big-name author was raised in Stockbridge? Now, for this episode's local headlines. As stated at the beginning of this episode, many arts and entertainment businesses have started to announce their 2025 seasons. One of these places is Tanglewood in Lenox. They have announced their Popular Artist Summer Series. This concert series brings together popular artists from all genres to perform at the historic stage. Here are this year's performers. First, on Saturday, June 21st, A Prairie Home Companion will take the stage with its New Age performance style. Then, on July 3rd and 4th, the celebrated singer-songwriter from Massachusetts, James Taylor, will perform yet another Tanglewood show. Tiny Habits will be the supporting acts. Please note, however, that the July 4th show is already sold out. Then, on July 8th, coincidentally, this is also my birthday, three great acts of the rock alternative 90s 2000s era will take the stage, as Bare Naked Ladies will headline with Sugar Ray and Fastball as supporting acts. Next, on July 29th, Emmylou Harris and Graham Nash will hit the stage 50 years after they first performed at Tanglewood in 1975. They are both legends of their respective genres in country and rock. On August 28th, the NPR Peabody Award-winning comedy news quiz show, known as Wait, Wait, Don't Tell Me, hosted by Peter Segal, will take the stage, with panelists consisting of comedians, writers, and celebrity guests to tackle the week of news. Finally, to close out the series, on August 31st, Bonnie Raitt will headline with supporting acts Jimmy Vaughn and the Tilt-A-Whirl Band. There could still be more acts to perform. Visit Tanglewood's website, shown here, for more information. The other summer preview happening this episode is in Williamstown for the Williamstown Theater Festival. Williamstown Theater Festival's 71st season will feature a reimagined model filled with core programming that will run over the course of multiple weekends beginning July 17th. They have announced 5 shows, each with specific dates still to come. They are Camino Real, Spirit of the People, Not About Nightingales, Untitled on Ice, a unique play which is going to take place at the Peter W. Foote Ice Rink, and the opera Vanessa. Several of these shows are inspired by the work of playwright Tennessee Williams. Passes for the season, which include tickets to 8 core programming experiences, go on sale March 18th. Tickets will be made available through wtfestival.org and by calling the box office at 413-458-3253. There may be more shows still to come. Stay tuned to WWHEN for more information. Please note that the Williamstown Theater Festival's website is undergoing massive construction and right now looks very disorganized. Our next stop is to Masmoka for a new exhibit titled Cultural Apothecary by Alison Pebworth. For more than a decade, Pebworth has been inspired by a 19th century neurological disorder called Americanitis. With vague symptoms ranging from abnormal fatigue to premature baldness, a diagnosis of Americanitis essentially pathologized the anxiety and ennui that plagued many Americans in the wake of industrialization and urbanization. Pebworth's Cultural Apothecary asks us to consider the root causes of the cultural ills that contribute to our anxiety today, and to work together towards tools for healing. Her installation at Masmoka will offer an experimental space for embodied, in-person connection, curiosity, and exploration as an antidote to division, loneliness, and isolation. For the past 2 years, during her extended residency at Masmoka, Pebworth has been living in North Adams and working to provoke curiosity and inspire collaboration with passerby out of a storefront studio in the city's downtown. This work began showing at Masmoka on February 22nd. It is located in B6, the Robert W. Wilson Building. For more information on this and any other WWHEN exhibits, visit massmoka.org. For our next story, we'll be visiting the Berkshire Theater Group for for a combined improv and hypnosis show. Backed by popular demand, Hiprov is the most interactive comedy show in the world. This 90-minute experience begins with world-renowned hypnosist Asad Metsi inviting 20 audience volunteers on stage to be hypnotized. The most receptive participants then join improv legend Colin Matri from Whose Line Is It Anyway? To create unscripted comedy in a way you've never seen before. In the hands of these two experts, the show evolves entirely from the volunteers' uninhibited minds and audience's suggestions, resulting in an unforgettable theatrical event that's different every night. This will be taking place on April 5th at 7 p.m. Visit berkshirtheatergroup.org for more information. For our next stop, we will be discussing an annual honor. Berkshire Community College's 40 Under 40. According to a press release, 40 Under 40 celebrates talented people in the Berkshires, all under the age of 40, who have a deep dedication to improving the quality of life for those living and working in our community. Nominees who hail from throughout Berkshire County are eligible for the award through their professional work and how it makes a difference, their personal commitment to the community, or other efforts to improve the quality of life for those living and working the Berkshires. The awards ceremony takes place on Thursday, March 27. It will be held at the Robert Boland Theater at BCC starting at 5 p.m. Visit bcc.edu for more information. Up next, we are giving some excellent sports-related news. Both Mount Greylock teams took home a state championship in the Nordic skiing state meet at Prospect Mountain. Of all the racers at the top of the podium on that day, perhaps none were as surprised as the Mount Greylock girls team, which successfully defended the title it won a year ago, when it broke a 3-year title drought. The Mountie girls ended up with an 11-point win over Berkshire County Nordic League rival Amherst. The boys won their second straight championship. And out of 4 gold medals awarded, Berkshire County took home a third as well, with Wacona's Fritz Sanders finishing ahead of the field in the boys' race to help his squad place second in the Commonwealth. His Wacona teammate, Vienna Mahar, just missed making it a clean sweep for the county with the second place finish in the girls' race. WWHEN congratulates all Berkshire County Nordic skiing teams on their results. Up next, we are going to be visiting the Great Barrington Historical Society. The Great Barrington Historical Society is dedicated to collecting, preserving, and promoting the history and culture of Great Barrington for the benefit of its residents and visitors. Through its programs, archives, and collaborations, the Society seeks to advance an appreciation of historical events and of residents who played a major role in national, international, and town history. They also manage an archival collection of over 50,000 artifacts of the town's history, including paintings, prints, photographs, negatives, postcards, advertising, and many other types of artifacts too numerous to mention. The collection is currently stored at the space provided at the Ramsdell Library in Housatonic. As fundraising and renovations allow, the Historical Society plans to move the collection to the Town Museum and Archive Education Center at the Wheeler Farmstead, where it can be accessed, displayed, and interpreted. In 2007, after a 30-year search, the Great Barrington Historical Society found its headquarters, town museum, and education research center in the Truman Wheeler Farmstead on South Main Street. It was rescued just days before the historic farmstead was scheduled for demolition by developers. The Wheeler family farmstead, built in 1771, was the last surviving farm located near downtown. Its historic and architectural significance is extensive. Original early Dutch buildings evolved into English-style structures. The property and its owner played a significant role in the Revolutionary War and in the history of Great Barrington. The farmstead and museum tell the story. At its peak, the Wheeler family farm contained about 374 acres in 7 parcels, extending to the Green River. Today, the Historical Society holdings consist of the main house, a rare Dutch wagon house, and a complex of 3 additional farm buildings on 1.5 acres. The Great Barrington Historical Society is located on 817 South Main Street in Great Barrington. For more information, visit gbhistory.org or call 413-591-8702. For our next stop, we are going to be visiting Stockbridge and the Norman Rockwell Museum for a new exhibit highlighting advertising created by Mr. Rockwell and other artists. The Norman Rockwell Museum is honored to present a rare series of early 20th century lighting advertisements by Norman Rockwell and fellow Golden Age illustrators, such as Maxfield Parris, N.C. Wyatt, Dean Cornwell, Stanley Arthurs, Wirt Brem, and Charles Chambers, created for Edison Mazda Lamps, a division of the General Electric Company. These luminous, richly painted works were widely circulated in published advertisements throughout the 1920s. and are on loan to the museum for the first time through the generosity of GE Aerospace. In 1920, the young but accomplished illustrator Norman Rockwell was commissioned by General Electric to create a series of paintings for their Edison Mazda Lampworks division to be used to advertise tungsten filament light bulbs. The company had patented their version of the bulb in 1906 and strove to replace carbon filament bulbs with the more dependable and brighter product. First used in 1909, Edison's Mazda's name was inspired by the work of Thomas Edison, who built his first high-resistance incandescent light in 1879, and by Ahura Mazda, the ancient Persian god associated with wisdom and light. As stated before, these are the first time these exhibits have been highlighted to the public. So if you're interested in art and advertising, this is a great opportunity. This exhibit will be open until January 2026. For more information, visit nrm.org. Speaking of Stockbridge, our history portion of this WWHN episode will be taking us to this small but fascinating town. Despite its small size, Stockbridge has been the home to many different artists, including, as previously mentioned on WWHN, Norman Rockwell and Daniel Chester French. So, how did Stockbridge become Stockbridge? Stockbridge was settled by British missionaries in 1734, who established it as a praying town for the Stockbridge Indians, an indigenous Mohican tribe. The township was set aside for the tribe by Massachusetts colonists as a reward for their assistance against the French in the French and Indian Wars. The Reverend John Sargent from Newark, New Jersey, was their first missionary. First chartered as Indiantown in 1737, the village was incorporated on June 22, 1739, as Stockbridge. The missionaries named it after Stockbridge in Hampshire, New England. With the arrival of the railroad and Stockbridge Station in 1850, Stockbridge developed as a summer resort for the wealthy of Boston and many other major cities. Many large houses called Berkshire cottages were built in the area before World War I and the advent of the income tax. Since 1853, Stockbridge has benefited from the presence of the Laurel Hill Association, a village beautification society. As mentioned before, the town has a tradition as an art colony. The sculptor Daniel Chester French lived and worked at his home and studio called Chesterwood. And Norman Rockwell painted many of his works in Stockbridge, which, as just mentioned, is now the home to the Norman Rockwell Museum. Stockbridge also provides the answer to this episode's trivia question. As a reminder, this episode's question was, what current big-name author was raised in Stockbridge? The answer is Tara Conklin. Conklin, who was born in 1971 in St. Croix, United States Virgin Islands, was raised in Stockbridge. She had been a practicing lawyer for several years, but caught the author bug during that time. Her debut novel, The House Girl, was a New York Times bestseller, and her book after that, The Last Romantics, debuted at #1 on the New York Times bestselling list. This was in no small part due to the book being selected as news commentator Jenna Bush Hagen's first ever Read with Jenna Pro Book Club on the Today Show. It's now time for this episode's movie portion of WWHEN. On the last episode, I discussed the animated film Transformers 1, which dealt with robots. For this episode, I'm focusing on another robot-focused animated work, The Wild Robot. The film follows Roz, a robot who finds herself washed up on an island and must learn to survive the harsh wilderness. Despite knowing that she must return to her creators, she finds companionship in the local wildlife by raising Bright Bill, an orphaned gosling, with the help of a fox named Fink. So, what did I think of this movie? I think this was another great animated film. The animation is absolutely stunning, and the movie is very touching. Also, the voice acting is really great, and the plot moves along at a good pace. This is a great movie for both kids and adults. I said on my last episode that Transformers 1 wasn't for young kids because of some of the violence. This movie is a perfect substitute. On a scale of 1 to 10, I give this movie a 9. That ends this episode of Wehry History and Entertainment News in the Berkshires and beyond. If you would like to watch this or any other WWHEN episode again, you can visit PCTV's website, shown here, or my YouTube page at RT Wehry. And I want to thank CTSB TV and NBCTC for showing my show on their public access station. Thank you.